There are 3 preconditions embedded in the structure, and these preconditions are pretty pivotal to collective impact, because if you address these preconditions before you start your collective impact work, you're going to be much more successful during the path of your collective work. And then the bulk of the structure is that there are 5 core conditions of collective impact. The first one is around a common agenda. So what is it that we all agree to do in common? What is our shared work? What is the issue that we're going to focus on, and then what actions are we going to undertake in order to move this issue forward? The second condition of collective impact is the agreement of all the folks around the table to both identify where they want to move the needle, but also collect data and measure results consistently as you go. And this really says, you know, if you have a variety of different partners, let's say you're working on this notion of graduation matters, not only do you need to know, you know, from the perspective of the state of Montana, what the graduation rates are, but you also want to know how individual schools are doing, what are some of the success stories, and all of that kind of comes in under this rubric of shared measurement. And I'll tell you the story. The folks in Montana were able to achieve through their collective impact work the highest ever high school graduation rate in the state, which was 85.6%. Last year they broke through and they were at 85.4%, and this year they achieved 84.6%. So they're slowly moving the needle further and further along. The third condition of collective impact is mutually reinforcing activities, and this is where you unleash the capacity that already exists in your communities. And so, you know, what you want to think about, okay, so what can our various partners do, or what are they doing already that could, if they did a little bit more, could contribute to us achieving our common agenda and measuring progress as we go. The fourth condition is continuous communications, and so this condition really says, you know, if we have lots of partners sitting around our collective impact tables and we're engaged with the community in trying to drive this change forward, that we really have to pay attention to communications and really make sure that our communications are consistent, that they're open, that they build trust, and that they appreciate that folks are contributing to moving the common agenda forward. And then the final element in the framework of collective impact, or the final condition of collective impact, is backbone support. And backbone support is really the resources, really understanding the resources that it will take to move the needle, and really putting those resources in place so that collective impact work isn't just done from the side of everybody's desk, but it moves to the middle of the desk. So that's the kind of framework of collective impact. It has these 3 preconditions, and then it has these 5 conditions. So as you're doing the work in the community, you've got to think about, okay, to what degree are we achieving, you know, progress on both the 3 preconditions and the 5 conditions. So that's, you know, that really sets the table for collective impact. One of the things that that has also been developed as the folks who designed the collective impact framework, FSG, began to watch how collective impact was unfolding in communities, is they started to say, you know, not only do we have these kind of 3 preconditions and these 5 conditions, but there's actually, it doesn't all just plunk itself down in a community and away you go. In fact, there seems to be phases to this work. And so the folks at FSG met with collective impact organizations or collaboratives in Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky with backbone leaders, and they said, tell us about your work. And they did a little bit of analysis of these collective impact initiatives, and this actually led them to thinking about how this work evolves in communities over time. And so they initially came up with 4 phases to collective impact, but most recently in the last year, they said, you know, in retrospect, there's actually 5 phases. So we have at Tamarack developed a bit of a self-assessment tool for the 5 phases. And the self-assessment tool, which you will get in the post-webinar email, is really designed to provide you with some of the key elements required for each of the 5 phases. It's an opportunity for you and your team to self-assess your progress, and there is also a reflection opportunity at the end of the tool. And we're going to spend a bit of time on this webinar looking at the phases of collective impact and some elements of the self-assessment tool.